Let's admit, there are plenty of cars which offer a lot of luxury for cheap money to buy. Viewed from the outside, you must be somebody who needs to have cash, and nowadays this makes you automatically better than the person next to you, which will look at your holy face madly with envy while you sit in your expensive looking car. And you can pick up chicks easily. Just lie about your fortune, give her the best 2 minutes she will ever experience, and then just tell her, haha, it's a prank, bro. Or if you are some sort of social pedagogue, you can just tell her, I'm gay. Maybe this will make her feel better. But to be real though, a better vehicle can grow your self-confidence to the roof and make you look like the player you always dreamed of to be. That's just, by the way, the reason why rappers prostitute themselves on Instagram while flexing with fake jewelry. Not just rappers, but everybody on the internet is a wannabe self-made entrepreneur. Yes, even you, Karen from Minnesota. Anyway, here's a list of cars to impress stranger people you don't even know. Let's start with the first car. Owners of this manufacturer are often rated as arrogant and rich. It would be weird if you wouldn't want to be a part of this elite group. Porsche Carrera 911 from the 5th generation named 996. The 996 was built from 1997 to 2006 and you can get first models for around $10,000 in a probably post-apocalyptic condition. But if you are serious and want to buy this car as a long-term investment, you should look for a model from 2002. In this year, Porsche offered a facelifted version of the 996, which looks basically the same, but the dudes from Zuffenhausen were smart enough to rebuild the 3.4 flat engine to a 3.6 liter with 320 horsepower instead of 300 and making it more reliable. You can get buyable cars for $20,000 to $25,000. If you look at the older Porsche 911 models, you will notice that they can be very expensive if they are well maintained. Although Porsche being a sports car, it is measured with super sport cars like Ferrari and Lamborghini. This of course depends on the engine of the Porsche. But no average person will care or know how much horsepower you got. All they see is a Porsche badge and your belly while giving you head. In this case you will get the weakest engine, but it still accelerates you from 0 to 60 in 5 seconds and stops at 177 miles per hour. But the most important thing is, you can now de-slap a Porsche key into people's face just to express, hey, I don't like kids, please fillet me now, you filthy casual. Since the Porsche 911 design is the same Hitler even knew, it would make sense for you to look out for something more modern. So if you don't like hairy women, you should have a look at the Audi S5. The Audi S5 is basically an Audi A5 with a 4.2 liter V8 engine. The Audi A5 is based on the Audi A4, and in terms of reliability you will have less brain aneurysm with this model. They only can be garbage if you have a TFSI petrol engine or the multitronic transmission, most of the time due to oil leaks and carbon buildup. So the only thing you have to look out for is the S5 with the V8 engine. It is naturally aspirated and produces 354 horsepower, which accelerates you from 0 to 60 in just over 5 seconds depending on your transmission. The Audi S5 can have problems with timing chain and bigger oil consumption at higher mileage. But the most important thing is to use proper oil and to make an oil change every 6,000 miles. Also check out for the clutch if you have a manual transmission. If you want less trouble, look for a car from 2009 or 2010, so one of the latest production cars. They upgraded the engine a bit in terms of reliability. Despite the awesome looks, the car has the ability to give you an erection each time you start the engine, but only if you decide to change the exhaust system for pure V8 sound and make the world a better place. For a solid S5 you should plan to pay at least around $50,000. If you like soccer and especially soccer player wives, you should have a look at the Range Rover Sport. You even can compare it with soccer player wives. It looks great, it feels good when you're inside of them, but underneath they can be toxic and you have no idea why. So that's why you have to check out the electronics, the engines, the air suspension, basically everything. If it works, it sure drives like a dream, but when it starts to fail, it shows the real fecal of a face. If Disco Stu turns up on the dashboard, it might even happen that your mechanic won't even know what is going on and you just have to deal with it. But it looks great, it's cheap to buy and you have plenty of room for intense premarital handholding. If this is your only aim in life, you can pick up first Range Rover Sport models for less than $7,000. But if you have faith in Great Britain, you should buy a facelifted version from 2010 for $50,000 with less than 100k miles on it. They made the vehicle a little bit better after the facelift, but it's still garbage to be honest. Should your love for tea urge this much, you can even think for an alternative vehicle from Britain. The Jaguar XJ from 2009. Although Jaguar has the reputation of being reliable as a used tampon, the XJ is one of the cars which don't have major problems. Jaguar was bought by an Indian company and usually you need Indians to outsource work, but in this case they probably got some revenge for history. Anyway, the petrol engines can have issues with the water pump. The interior plastic can melt in hot climate areas, the infotainment system isn't the best and the steel frame around the sunroof can rust. Some car dealers were smart enough to paint the rust, which is obviously an act of genius. With a little bit of luck and aura skills you can get a good model for around $60,000, but it would be better to be able to spend around $20,000 to $25,000. Real women who tell you they are seriously into you because of your personality and not your car know that Mercedes is the equivalent to Louis Vuitton. That's why the last generation of the CL class is mentioned today. The Mercedes CL is an S-Class in pretty and with 2 doors less. You can only get one with a V8 or V12. The entry-level CL has cost over $100,000 when it first came out. You can get first models for around $12,000 and get the pimp status for free. You should get pimp slapped if you really buy one for $12,000, but at least you have a Mercedes. Until 2008 the M273 engine had issues with the timing chain tensioner, which caused a timing chain and engine failure. The M273 engine is a 5.4 liter naturally aspirated V8 engine, which swallows as much as college students when you tell them you will push them on Instagram. Despite that, it can have some electrical issues like not working seats, not working AC, not working stereo, etc. So if you are unlucky you pay the car price in repairs just to maintain this thing. But you look cool when you put your wrist out of the window with the fake iced out Cuban bracelet. Talking about Latinos, if you want to pretend to be Italian you just have to look at the Maserati GranTurismo. This model allows you to use international Italian gang signs in order to express your nationality properly. A Maserati is like an expensive looking tailored suit, where everybody can see your big sausage. In other words, you will get an awesome looking car with a naturally aspirated Ferrari V8 engine. This means you don't need to fake orgasms. You get Italian looks, Italian engineering and Italian quality. Some say Italian cars are made out of cheese. So in reality you should expect at some point a lot of minor electrical issues and maybe some oil leak from the engine. But generally speaking it can be a good car if you take care of it. As the guy always said who always entered my room at night when I was a kid and told me he is my uncle, just try to enjoy it. The next one is the BMW 6 Series F12. First model starts for around $70,000 and the 6 Series is based on the 5 Series, which is fairly reliable. It is one of their best selling cars in Europe, therefore it cannot be that bad. It won't survive any nuclear war because it's no Toyota, but BMW is not always as bad as people might tell you. Otherwise people wouldn't buy it over and over again, although people are stupid AF. Anyway, the only major thing you need to look out for is the 650i models before 2012 with 408 horsepower. All in all, these engines are built to fail. Oil leaks, both turbos can fail, the engine can overheat, the timing chain will fail, the water pump will fail, and it just makes no sense in buying it. If you want something more reliable, buy a twin turbo straight 6-cylinder engine or a 2012 model with the 494 horsepower V8 twin turbo. Since it is a BMW, you should let it check by a professional. The average chick gets wet just by looking at this car, and you can pull out your magic stick to please her. Another good thing about the 6 Series is that you can have it as coupe, convertible and 4-door version. Since BMW gets driven by a lot of retarded internet rambos who like to burst tires, you can go for the equivalent, the Mercedes-Benz CLS C218. As logical as Germans are, the predecessor model was named C219. This CLS looks elegant, sporty and makes you look like you have some extra inches in your pants. Buyable models cost around $20,000 and you can get the 550 version with also 408 horsepower twin-turbo V8, which can be reliable if the owner wasn't a sadistic serial killer who likes to torture Germans. If you decide to chip-tune the engine and modify the exhaust system, you can easily go for over 500 horsepower. Install an AMG body kit and you have AMG looks, AMG performance and an AMG cavernous body. The CLS is based on a Mercedes E-Class and it's a hermaphrodite of a coupe and a sedan. Generally speaking, the E-Class is pretty reliable for a German engineered car. In Germany they are even used as a taxi. Should you not want to spend that much on a car, simply buy a Lexus LS460 for $10,000 to $15,000 and be happy that you are smarter than everybody else. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to comment, like and subscribe to listen more for this literary effusion. Run to your neighbor's house naked, smash your big smelly willy in his face and force him to subscribe to this channel as soon as he wakes up from the coma, as this would help to spread the good word of this channel.